Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hello and welcome to episode 150 of the Cinema Geeks. I am one of your Cinema Geeks Optimus Solo. Joining me today is Hard Candy Mandy.
Hey, bro.
Hey, bro. Is that what we are now?
No. No,
okay.
Definitely not.
It's your new title, Bros.
Fridley Sen, hello.
Hi, I totally jumped Dan. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right. I just went with it. And Movie Revolt Dan, hello.
Hey, how's it going? I now pronounce you Movie Bros.
Yeah, I guess news out of the way as far as Cinema Geek announcements that we did it on, I think, the Twitter. I think I sent something out, but we are a little bit different now because we have...
different but still the same.
Different but still the same, as Hard Candy Mandy and I are now officially engaged. So, woot woot. So news for that, and wedding coming sometime next year probably. So that's that. And we are here today to look ahead and look back as we do every once in a while throughout the year. We do apologize. We missed out on making any predictions on the September movies. Vacations and happenings, I guess we just slipped past us until Amanda reminded us last week or the week before that we forgot to do September, October. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to lump 3 months together, and we're going to give you predictions on the rest of the year, October, November, and December. So apologies to September, but we're going to turn ahead and look at the final 3 months of the year and try to make some sense out of what's coming out. Before we do that and get our thoughts on what's remaining, we have to look way back now, because it was predictions that we made about July and August. So these movies have been out now for a while, and we have some hard data to go over as far as our predictions. First question, I guess, would be, does anybody even remember the kind of predictions they made for July and August, Amanda?
It's like Guardians 2 and...
No.
Was that the time before then? Because I was just looking at this.
This would have been the month with the likes of Spider-Man and War for the Planet of the Apes and Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets.
Oh, no, I don't remember then. No.
All right, well then I'm here to refresh your memory.
Thanks.
And let you know how you did.
These are my least favorite episodes, y'all, because I suck so bad.
Oh, man.
So bad.
I'm no good, but I love them. Also, I have mine saved up, and I just realized that we did the Emoji Movie, and it's like, oh no.
To give everybody a precursor to the July and August results, before we give those, the standings were pretty darn close. I was barely in the lead with 13 points. Dan was only 1 point behind that with 12. Matt was only 1 point behind that with 11. And Amanda was only 1 point behind that with 10. So it went 13, 12, 11, 10. This is before the results for July and August. So let's get right into it. First, for the results of our picks to click. So movies we thought were going to click at the box office. 3 of us went with Annabelle Creation. That would have been myself, Dan, and Matt, because it's a horror film, and those don't cost much money. Annabelle Creation had a budget of $15 million, made $101. Amanda, where were you at? No Annabelle Creation on your pick to click.
No, because I knew about this shit, bro.
So that'll be points for me, Dan, and Matt. Amanda, your first pick to click was Spider-Man Homecoming. Went with the softball.
I need points.
Its budget was $175. It's currently somewhere around the $330 mark. So easy point there for Amanda. Dan, you and I doubled up on the second pick as well. We went with Atomic Blonde. Atomic Blonde had a budget of $30 million and currently sits around $51. So not quite doubled its budget, but it did well for itself. Resonated, I guess, with some people that were looking for some action film. So point for Dan, point for myself. Amanda, you went with War for the Planet of the Apes for your second pick. How are you feeling?
Good.
War for the Planet of the Apes budget was $150 million.
Did it make $155 million?
No, it's only at $146.
What the hell?
That's
That was
surprising.
like a sure bet.
Yeah, sure bet, but not.
What?
Succeeded in a lot of other areas, and but not quite making its budget back when it comes to domestic. So I don't know. I was surprised when I saw that. So no point for you for War for the Planet of the Apes. You tried to get another softball, but you swung and missed. Matt, your other pick was Dark Tower as a pick to click. Budget of
I don't know that did too well, guys.
budget of 60. It made 50.
So close.
So you and Amanda just barely missing out on those two, but not quite enough to get you guys a point. So that's how the picks to click went. Any surprises, Dan, from those results?
The Ace movie, I think, is the one, because it has such a good film. It's sad that it didn't make more, because it certainly deserved to.
Yeah, I was surprised when I was going over the results that she didn't get a point for that one. So let's get negative. We predicted some movies not to do so well, so we had some bets to bomb, and we also had a movie that three of us picked on that one, because three of us went with Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, which had a budget of $177 million, and currently is at 40.
What?
Yeah, 40 million. That means it made less than Atomic Blonde, even. And less than Dark Tower.
There was just no way that movie was going to make money.
That's why I predicted it not to make money, but I wouldn't have predicted it to be that low. Like, I don't think I would have predicted Dark Tower to beat Valerian. But that's what happened. So points for myself, Dan, and Amanda for all picking Valerian as a bet to bomb. Matt, your first pick was Death Note. And I don't really know how we judge that one, because
it didn't hit theaters, right?
Correct. So, I mean, I guess you're right there, because if it cost a couple million, it didn't make that. So, I mean, it's hard to deal with the streaming ones. Like, we got to come up with a new rule for that. So, I mean, I don't think... What do you think?
Yeah. I think that... I think that I don't get the point, because if I won on that, that would be a big asterisk.
Let's just try to be like all the sports and have asterisks next to our records. Let's go with the second bet to bomb then. We'll have to see if it comes down to 1 point between Matt and another person for first place. We might have to revisit that one. I also had Dark Tower as a bomb, and obviously we already discussed that would be a correct pick since Matt missed it as far as a pick to click. Dan, you had The Life and Death of John Gotti as a bet to bomb, which got a new release date and a new name.
That's not fair. Like, that's not... They knew it. See, that's what happens. They knew it, and they... Yeah.
So they shortened it to just Gotti, and now it's not going to be coming out until like a week before Christmas. So no points for that.
See, they knew that. Like no one was talking about it, and then...
You've got like a list of all these floating things, right? Because we put the Amityville ones like 6 months ago.
It's like we got to revisit and go back to some of these and get before we get our final statistics. Amanda, you had Kidnap as a bet to bomb. Did have a $21 million budget, which is surprising.
Just for Halle Berry?
Yeah, it must be. But it actually made 30, so it beat its budget. No point for you.
What the?
And Matt, your other pick was Leap with an exclamation point next to it, which had a budget of 30. And I should check to see if it made any money this last weekend. When I checked last, it was at 20. So that's not good for that animated film. Yeah, it's at 20 and 20.5 right now. So that's good enough for you to get a point for Leap.
Hey, no asterisk on that one.
No debate, no waiting. That one's a sure point. Let's get to our wild cards for the box office. Let's start with Matt. You had Valerian beating Jupiter Ascending.
Ugh. It didn't, did it?
Valerian made 40 million. Jupiter Ascending made 47.
Oh, man. Valerian was a better movie. It was definitely a better movie.
Those two are real close to each other, so I think it's a good comparison, but you just kind of ended up on the wrong side of that one. So, Amanda, how about a close result here? You had Atomic Blonde beating Dark Tower. Any listeners that were paying super good attention would know what the result is for that one. But Atomic Blonde made 51, Dark Tower made 50.
What did I say? That Dark Tower was going to be Atomic Blonde?
You said Atomic Blonde was going to beat Dark Tower, and it did by 1 million.
What?
So that's good.
Skills.
So you guys picked some that were real close to each other. It's interesting. I had Spider-Man being the making more money than any other film in the Spider-Man franchise, or any Spider-Man franchise, however you want to break it down. I don't know what I was thinking with that, but it beat all of the Amazing Spider-Mans. So can I get a half a point?
Nope.
Oh, okay. It did not beat Spider-Man 1, 2, or 3. It came in 4th in the franchise. So right between the original 3 and the Amazing ones. So I missed that one big time. Dan, your wild card was Logan Lucky would make less than all of the Ocean's films. The lowest Ocean film made $117 million. Logan Lucky currently at 27.
Whoa.
So I guess you really got that one. You almost got that one so well that it should give you like bonus points or something. So
I'm not against that.
That's the NASCAR heist movie, right?
correct.
Yeah.
That movie deserves more than that based on the trailer alone.
Yeah, this is when we look at the box office, it's crazy. I mean, if you were looking at the bombs, I guess from the box office, you would have War for the Planet of the Apes, Valerian, Detroit actually only made half of its budget, Dark Tower, Nut Job 2, Leap, so 2 animated films not making their budget back, and Logan Lucky all would be qualified as bombs. But it's crazy if you think about it. Logan Lucky and a few of these movies that made less than things like Valerian making less than Dark Tower surprises me. But definitely a hard month to predict, I guess, at the box office, unless you were trying to predict the Annabelle and Spider-Man, because we all did well with that. So let's shift to Rotten Tomatoes. We had some fresh picks, some rotten picks, and some battles. I'll go with my first fresh pick, which was Detroit, which, Matt, you were on board with as well. Detroit currently has an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that would be good for you and me, Matt. You also went with another D film with Dunkirk, Matt, which Amanda jumped on board with you on that one. Dunkirk, 93%.
Ooh.
So that's 2 points for you, Matt, for the fresh picks. Let's see, Amanda, if you can get your second point, because your second pick was Ghost Story. So you had Dunkirk and Ghost Story. Dunkirk 93, Ghost Story 92.
Nice.
So winner for the fresh picks. I already said that one of mine was Detroit. My second one was Wind River, and Wind River currently has an 86%. So Dan, if you're keeping track, that means all three of us got both points for the fresh picks. Your first fresh pick, War for the Planet of the Apes, currently has a 93%. So like I said, resonated a little bit more with the critics than I guess it did at the box office when it came to Dallas. Your second pick, Dan, was Glass Castle.
Yeah, not so much.
Glass Castle currently has a 48%. So that would be the only wrong pick as far as fresh picks go. So we did pretty good there, guys. Pretty good. 7 out of 8 for the fresh picks. Let's see if that translates to rotten. I went with The Last Face, which most people probably haven't heard of, but it's a film directed by Sean Penn. I thought, man, the last Sean Penn directed film got a 17%, so this one's got to be bad. The Last Face currently has a 5%. So,
Oof.
Not a good run as a director when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes, I guess, for Sean Penn. A couple of you had Nut Job 2, and that would be me, Dan, and Matt. And Nut Job 2 has a 10%.
I don't even remember that, but it sounds bad.
It beat its first one. I think the first one had like a 7%, so it's looking up.
No, the first one, it tied the first one.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, they both got 10%. So we were all right with that one. And then two of you, Dan and Amanda, went with Naked, the Wayans joint. It's only been reviewed by 6 people, but it has a 0.
Wait,
So we get my
6 people gave it a 0?
Well, 6 people did not.
Oh, that's right. The way they
Right.
do it is positive or negative.
Right, so 6 reviews and 6 total negative reviews. So that's enough for you guys to get a point. Amanda, your other one was First Kill. few more people reviewed that one. That one's up to 11 people reviewing it.
I don't even remember what that was about.
Maybe that's a good thing because it's only got a 9%.
Yes.
So that is 2 points for me, 2 points for Dan, 2 points for Amanda. Matt, we haven't revealed your second rotten pick, which was Undercover Grandpa.
That doesn't sound good, right, guys?
Which hasn't come out yet.
Oh,
So
man.
it also
I'm bad at
got pushed. So that would be the only unsettled point for the rotten picks. Otherwise, we would have been 7 for 8, I guess, out of those. So let's get to the versus, the actual battles where we went mano a mano. Amanda, you had Annabelle beating Wish Upon.
Oh, man.
Annabelle, 68%. Wish Upon, 18.
Yes.
So that's good. Matt, you had Taken beating Kidnap. Taken had a 58%. Kidnap, 36.
Yeah, Neeson. Liam Neeson, though.
Yes.
Y'all talking about my softballs and shit. You put Liam Neeson against a hardly a no-name Halle Berry joint.
Okay, it was in the 50%. That's not a good movie.
Taken was right in the middle, so it's kind of hard to tell if it's going to be higher or lower. I said that War for the Planet of the Apes would beat all of the other Planet of the Apes, which included films that had as high as 81 and 90%. But War for the Planet of the Apes is currently the highest rated out of all the Planet of the Apes at a 93. So I thought that was kind of a risky pick, but War for the Planet of the Apes, it came through for me. So that is the highest rated Rotten Tomatoes pick for the franchise. Dan, you said that Saving Private Ryan would beat Dunkirk. Saving Private Ryan, 92%. Dunkirk, 93%.
What?
Whoa.
Burn.
So that's as bad. That's almost as bad as one of those other ones earlier, because that's you're missing it by 1%. So both films rated very high when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes. And if people have forgotten, our movie that was ineligible for any other picks because it was our featured movie for July and August, it was the Emoji Movie. I thought that would be one of the harder ones to predict, so that's why we threw that in there. Let's go over our box office predictions for that. I was the highest at $140 million for the Emoji Movie. Dan, you had 120. Amanda, you had 95. And Matt, you were the lowest at 90.
Wow, I was way too overzealous with that. That was crazy.
That movie didn't make money, right, guys?
It made 84.
Whoa.
So, Matt, you are the closest to that one by being the lowest out of all of us. So we all overshot what the Emoji Movie would make. So I guess that's a good thing, right, guys? That's a good thing that it made no money?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, did it make its budget back?
If it means we're getting not another one, then yeah.
It did make its budget back because its budget was only 50, but I mean, I don't think it was like the success that maybe it was hoping for. I don't know. Well, it did make money though, so you never know. Then we had to try to predict what its Rotten Tomatoes score would be. Dan, you were the highest at 25%. I was at 20. Amanda, you went down to 16, and then Matt, you again were the lowest at 13. I'm just going to throw a clip from the prediction show and something that Matt said in right now. Matt, what do you think?
So is this just going to be all of us guessing a number close to 10%? Because, like, seriously, it's the Emoji Movie?
So, Matt, you were correct. Emoji Movie, 10%. So, I don't. You actually didn't predict 10%, but you said that it was probably going to make 10% or so. So, you being the lowest at 13% also get the point for that one. So, Emoji Movie made $84 million and 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, if we want to sum that up a little bit and update our current totals, I went from 13 points up to 22 points. Because the only points I missed were the two Emoji Movies and Spider-Man being the best. Dan, you went from 12 to 19. Amanda, you went from 10 to 18. And Matt, you went from 11 to 20. So,
Nice.
So the current standings are me at 22 points, Matt at 20, Dan at 19, and Amanda at 18.
Oh my god, I suck so bad, you guys.
You gained a point on Dan.
What?
So you got that going for you. And if we wanted to review real quick some of the Rotten Tomatoes, it was an interesting month as far as what the possibilities were, because you actually had quite a few possibilities on both ends. There was 5 or 6 films that you could have picked that were rotten. That would have been Wish Upon at 18, Blind at 17, The Emoji Movie at 10, Dark Tower at 16, and The Nut Job 2 at 10, not counting some of the other random ones we threw in there with The Last Face and Naked. So a bunch of rotten films during July and August. Actually, a bunch of good films according to the critics too. Spider-Man 92, Ghost Story 92, War for the Planet of the Apes 93, Dunkirk 93, Girls Trip 89, Atomic Blonde 75, Detroit 83, Brigsby Bear 78, Wind River 86, Logan Lucky 93, and All Saints 93. Dan, were you surprised that July and August gave us that many films that were certified fresh?
Yeah, I mean, and then there are like movies that were limited that came out in July too, like Baby Driver and The Big Sick, and so it was. I think July was one of the best months, one of the best Julys in some time. So even though maybe box office wise, the summer was kind of a disappointment, I thought there was actually quite a few good films and movies that we talked about deserved a lot more people to go see, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, so definitely an interesting end to the summer. I think a lot of people were pleased with kind of how the summer turned out after some people were a little bit more weary about the May and June releases. I think a lot of people are championing the stuff that came out in July and early August. So we apologize to September, like we said earlier. We're not going to talk about you, but we are going to jump all the way up into the October, November, and December releases. Before we get into your actual predictions, how was it this time trying to figure things out, Amanda? You had 3 months. You had an extra month of films to look at.
Yeah, but I did it in like a super short amount of time. So I don't know how solid my predictions are going to be, but I feel like a lot of these I just kind of, I don't try to think about too much. I'm just like, yes, this.
Going with your gut.
And just try to go for it, because if I think about it too much, I'm just going to keep changing it, and it's going to be wrong anyways, so boom.
You can't do any worse than last. You can only...
But then I can just stay the fucking last, and that's just as awful.
Matt, what was the hardest section to try to pinpoint this time around?
Oh man, it had to be one of the Rotten Tomatoes, because like those are always hard. Like I never know where people are gonna go. Probably I think the Rotten was the last bit I did, but I guess looking at my choices, I probably didn't choose bad. Also, bombs are hard because like there's so many horror movies, and it's like, oh, like one ticket gets bought, that one made money because they're so cheap to make.
For me, it was by far the bets to bomb that were the hardest this time around. I didn't even know if I was going to come up with more than one, so I'm not real confident in that section. Dan, was there a section that was easy or hard for you? And what do you think? Going through this, are you anticipating these 3 months?
Well, in theory, the easiest one would be The Fresh, because it's supposed to be Oscar season, so there should be a lot of potentially great films, but as we know, that doesn't always work out. As I thought Glass Castle would be one of the best movies of the year, and it turned out apparently not to be. But yeah, bombs are really hard this time of year because there are not a lot of like the horror films as mentioned, those are always hard to predict. And then there are not a lot of, I didn't find a lot of like really high budgeted films like a Valerian, then I'm like, okay, that definitely is not doing well. It seems like everything is relatively low budget, and anything that has a really high budget, I'm pretty sure will at least make money. So finding movies that I think will bomb, it was just ones I feel like will be disappointments based upon different factors that maybe they're not going to be. So it was a little bit harder, especially because I feel like a lot of them didn't have their budget information available.
That was my problem, is I couldn't find a lot of budget information, so it was hard to, it's kind of like shooting, in the dark or something like that. So I don't even know, is that a saying? Shooting in the dark?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with it. All right, so let's get right into it. Amanda, you were the fairly recent birthday girl, so we'll let you go first. Where do you want to start?
Now that I'm old, I get to do stuff first.
I mean, we were letting you do stuff first for a long time, actually.
Oh, well, I don't feel so special. So we're doing...
Also,
yeah.
you are the youngest here, so you're not even that old.
Am I really?
Well, that won't change. So.
It's going to stay that way. No matter what your picks are, it's not going to change.
I think. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I think Kevin's oldest.
Yeah, I'm an old man.
He's pretty old.
Where do you want to start?
I want to do stuff.
Did you call me Old Man River?
No.
Oh, I thought somebody
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay,
I did.
I like that. I like that.
Man, I always do like picks to click first, right?
I don't know.
I'm gonna do my Rotten Tomatoes versus battle first.
You're going to Rotten Tomatoes versus.
Yes.
Throwing everything off kilter. Go for it.
Yes. Daddy's Home 2 is gonna score higher than A Bad Mom's Christmas.
Going to the battle of the comedy sequels.
Yes.
So you said Daddy's Home 2 is going to score higher?
Yes, than A Bad Mom's Christmas.
Going with the strength of Mel Gibson?
You have to.
A Bad Mom's Christmas is a sequel?
I mean, there was a Bad Moms, isn't that?
Yeah.
And they're both like the Christmas version of their like predecessors.
All right, so I like the matchup there. That'll be interesting to see because they definitely both are kind of occupying that same space. I'll go next. I guess this is weird because you would have thought I would have put one of these in the box office since there's not a lot of big box office budget type films during this time, but I actually went with my Rotten versus for two big blockbusters. I'm going to go with Thor Ragnarok beating Justice League in the Rotten Tomatoes realm. So I think it'll get a better score. Maybe that's a softball because of how much hate DC gets versus Marvel, but I'm throwing them here because I couldn't decide. I was going to go with an easy one and pick Thor Ragnarok as a pick to click, but I decided to try to play a little bit more risky. So with my picks to click, but not with my Rotten versus. So Thor beats Justice League. Dan, where are you going for your Rotten versus?
I want to go Jumanji, but I'm afraid that's going to be pushed back until January. That's my concern because it's like on the border end of December, and I have a feeling that they might let's just do that into January, February. But go for it, go big or go home. And I will actually say the new Jumanji reboot will actually score higher on Rotten Tomatoes than the original Jumanji, which actually doesn't have a very high Rotten Tomato score. It's like 46%.
Oh, wow.
So I think it will, maybe score 10, 15 points higher. So just through The Rock's presence alone.
I'm surprised the original Jumanji was that low.
I don't think it was a great movie. I think it was just a part of our childhood.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably
it's
true.
not a very good movie.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Straight up, I had the exact same thing as Dan, that the new Jumanji will beat the old one.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So I guess you guys will be doubling down on that point or canceling each other out, whatever you want, however you want to say it. So, all right, that's Rotten versus. Matt, you went last, so where do you want to go next?
Oh, man, let's do the easy ones, the picks to click, right?
All right, what's your first pick to click?
My first one's Happy Death Day, because it's kind of like Live, Die, Repeat meets Final Destination. What was the Edge of Tomorrow meets Final Destination? The Final Destination movies make so much money.
I'm going to save my thoughts on Happy Death Day because I have it in a completely different category, not having anything to do with box office.
Oh, it doesn't look like a good movie. It looks like one that's going to make money.
I had a very strong reaction to the trailer when we saw that in the theater. Amanda, what's your first pick to click?
Murder on the Orient Express.
Think it's going to make some money?
I hope so. I just really want to see it, so I'm putting it there.
Going with your personal desires there. I like it. I'm going to go horror film as well. I think Jigsaw. I guess it's maybe cheating to put a bunch of horror films in here, but I think Jigsaw might rejuvenate some of the Saw fans and get people to go out there.
But there's no rejuvenating that fucking series, not with this garbage.
You think it's garbage?
Oh, it's going to be pretty bad.
I think every film has made its budget back, but I could be wrong. I didn't do a ton of research. So Jigsaw for me. Dan, what do you got for your first pick to click?
Well, when in doubt, I need to catch up with some points, so I'm gonna go with some easy ones here. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go with Coco. Also because I believe I was the only one that had Coco in the top 10 predictions at the beginning of the year. So I really need I'm gonna double down. So I'm gonna go with it for pick to click.
I am finally starting to see some advertising for it, which is.
I think it looks cool.
It took a long time for that to kind of get out there, but all right. So hoping that'll help you in the yearly battles as well as the seasonal one here. So Matt, back to you for your second pick to click.
All right. My next one's going to be Daddy's Home 2, because the first one made so much money, and then they added John Lithgow and Mel Gibson.
Yeah, I can see that. So a lot of people finding a way to get Daddy's Home 2 into their picks. Amanda, what's your second pick to click?
Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok. We're gonna eliminate your ability to go after comic book films for pick to click here soon.
What?
I'm just kidding. You're in last place. You need all the points you can get. Dan, what do you got for your second?
Well, I'm gonna agree with Thor Ragnarok. I wanted to pick someplace with it. I'm gonna go. I'll put the caveat that I think it's gonna be the. This isn't my like versus one, but this is just an additional beyond just clicking that. It's probably gonna be the highest grossing Thor. That's my guess. I think it's gonna by far.
Nice.
Hey, buddy. Quit it with these things.
He's trying to get some extra points or something.
Sorry.
I am going to make a dumb pick, I think, with this one, but I actually had this in a different spot, and I flipped it at the last second. I'm going with Geostorm as a pick to click.
Whoa!
I don't know why I'm doing that, because this film is starring Gerard Butler or whatever it is, but maybe, just maybe, the amount of actual natural disasters that we've had in the last 2 months will make people interested in seeing a movie about it. I don't know.
I feel like it's the opposite.
Yeah, I was gonna say, disaster movies rarely make money, and we're in a real bad time right now.
It's too soon.
It's too soon?
Hey, no, go for it. Go for it.
I'm playing it risky. I'll go with Geostorm only because I had to put what I switched my mind at the last second and put what I had as my second pick to click actually as a bet to bomb once I found its budget. So I'll stick with Geostorm, and I'll be the on the Lonely Island wrong with that one probably when we go over the results. All right, Dan, you haven't decided where we go next yet, so where to after our picks to click?
Wait.
Oh wait,
I
did
still
we do
have
three?
Yeah, we got 3 to do.
Oh,
What? I only did 2.
no, there's 3.
Fuck.
I'm looking at the wrong sheet. Go ahead, Matt. What's your third one?
I put. Oh wait, no, I already did Happy Death Day. Mountain Between Us. The Mountain Between Us, Idris Elba, kind of like The Edge, kind of like The Gray, which both had $20 million budgets and made $50 million. So like, it's not Thor Ragnarok, but it'll probably make me a point.
All right, fair enough. Dan, what do you have as your third one?
I wasn't sure about this one because I couldn't find a budget on it, but I feel like American Sniper did really well. It's also from the people who did Lone Survivor that did really well. So I'm going to say thank you for your service. Will be a pick to click. I don't know if it'll do as well as them, but it doesn't seem like it's a movie with a very high budget. So I think it'll certainly make its budget back once that gets released.
All right, Amanda.
Justice League.
It's very clear they just came up with that one out of thin air. All right, Justice League. Take it. I'm gonna go crazy here. I'm gonna say my other pick to click will be My Little Pony the movie. That can't have a budget more than like $10 million, right? Like it has to be like $5 million. And
it's actually $200 million. That's weird.
And I'm pretty sure that every My Little Pony fan is probably going to see that like 10 times. So even if there's not a billion of them, they're going to make it seem like it was. So I don't know if there's any more rabid fan base than My Little Pony. So I think that movie at least has to make its budget back. All right, that is all the picks to click. So Dan, where do you want to go after that?
Sorry, let's go bet the bomb.
Okay, bet to bomb. Dan, you're up first.
Well, not to disagree with Amanda, but I'm thinking Murder on Orient Express will actually be a bet the bomb, just because I wonder if like I don't know how much excitement there is for that original property. I feel like Johnny Depp's is kind of on his last leg. The last Pirates movie didn't do very well, and I feel like with that cast, it probably has a really high budget. So I just wonder if that will really strike a chord with people. So I don't think it'll make its budget back. So I'm going with Murder on Orient Express.
I hope I'm wrong, but I'm going to say the same thing just because the number of stars they have has got to make that budget fairly high, even if it's not going to take a ton of like on the special effects or different stuff like that. So I was kind of looking at Magnificent Seven, trying to compare it to some other, classics remade or whatnot. So I want it to be a good film, but I'm going to say Murder on the Orient Express is not going to have as much of a fan base as I would like it to. Matt, first bet to bomb.
Oh, Geostorm, because it looks bad and also disasters.
Yes, I have no comment because I just feel dumber. I feel less and less good about that pick every second that goes by.
You're gonna throw it in everyone's face if you're right, though.
Amanda, what's your first bet to mom?
I want to say Geostorm.
Yeah.
Dan, is that your second one?
No, I have that someplace else, but I kind of wish I did put it there. My next one is Death Wish with Bruce Willis. I couldn't find a budget on this, but I just feel like it's coming at, like, I think it's a movie the world's just not going to want right now. And Eli Roth films just tend not to do very well. A lot of them don't even get released in theaters. And you know, there's a lot of controversy with the trailer. And it's coming out during Christmas time. I don't know if like that's really a movie that's really people are gonna go out and see. So I could be way off. Bruce Willis's movies can go different ways, but I just have a feeling it's not going to do very well. So I went with Death Wish.
Interesting. I didn't know what to think of Death Wish, so I didn't put it anywhere. I actually went with my second bet to bomb being Jumanji. Hoping that Dan's wrong and that it does still get released in December some point. But I don't know. The Rock is kind of hard to... I mean, Baywatch tanked, so maybe he's on kind of a little bad patch. And I just don't know how many people are just clamoring for Jumanji. Except for maybe Amanda.
I really think it looks funny.
So I don't know. I'm going with Jumanji to bomb because I'm thinking that's going to have a pretty high budget too because they're doing a lot of crazy stuff. So Matt, what's your second bet to bomb?
Oh man, this might be my Geostorm, as it were. The Star, this weird like Christian animated movie.
The animated films this year are just so.
It's from the point of view of like a camel or something. The trailer was really weird. And like, here's the thing: there are some fun Christian properties. There's some good ones, but this one's somewhere in the like, hey, we had the same budget as Food Fight.
I mean, if you put like Leap and Ferdinand and The Star and a few that have already come out, like it's like, did everybody just take the year off for animated films outside of like the big studios? I don't know. Amanda, what's your next bet to bomb?
I'm sorry, old man Jackie Chan, but The Foreigner.
No money.
I'm worried about that. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Dan, one more pick for bet to bomb. What do you got?
I'm going to go with The Greatest Showman, similar along the lines of Orient Express. It looks like it's a very expensive film. I couldn't find the budget on it, but it just looks like production-wise, it costs a lot of money. And I don't... The trailer's out, but I see no talk about it. Maybe if there'll be more buzz for when we get closer to it. But again, I don't know if it's a type of movie that's really going to get a lot of people. Like, it's an old period piece, a very movie of past time that I wonder if like will work with audiences today. So I could be way off, but it was really hard to find some movies for Beth the Bomb. So just trying to think. I don't think people will go see that. So
Dan, did you see the trailer?
I did.
Is Hugh Jackman just born to be in those types of period pieces, though? If he's not Wolverine, like I just feel like he
like I think he'll be great in it. I don't like. It's not. I think it might be even a good movie, but I just wonder if people will.
Right.
Actually, we will see it. Actually, I did one of those surveys at the mall thing where I had to watch all these trailers, and like everyone that they've like done so far were movies that didn't do really well, and that was on it. So it made me think that they're worried about it.
Oh.
That was part of my my guess as well. So we'll see.
Gotcha. Matt, you got one bomb left?
Oh, I'm sure I do. And that's Bad Moms Christmas, because that movie doesn't look good.
Amanda, are you sad about that?
I don't know how I feel about it. Like, Bad Moms is a good movie, but like Bad Moms Christmas, it's just gonna be the same thing with just like more ridiculous holiday shit. So if you get down on the first one, definitely get down on this one.
What's your other bomb pick?
Mine is also The Greatest Showman.
Don't think people are gonna go see it?
I just think there's gonna be so much other stuff coming out that it might just be overshadowed.
Be a big time of the year back in December.
And I just saw like a preview just the other day. Like I had no idea about this movie, so.
I'm gonna go with a pick that most people would probably shake their head at, but I saw the budget of this film, and I think even if it's a good film and does well, I don't know if it's gonna make its budget back. I went with Blade Runner 2049 as my other bet to bomb. Its budget is $185 million.
Whoa.
So, I mean, if it beats that, that means it's going to be in the 200 million mark, which means it's going to be in, like, the top 10 of the year. I don't see it do... Go ahead.
The first one didn't do well, right? Like, it became a hit later.
Right.
Yeah, it was a notable bomb that, you know, it's got appreciation, especially after the different, like, you know, director's editions and things like that. So,
I mean, I'm still hoping it's a good film, and you know, I do think there's people that like some of the actors involved and are interested in kind of, you know, in the same way that people were interested in Mad Max or different stuff that was kind of coming back up. But I just can't see it making $185 million. Like I think maybe 150 would be about as much as it could hope for, 160, something like that. So I hope I'm wrong, but I was stretching for another bomb, so I went with Blade Runner 2049 for this one. Let's go ahead and do our wild card for our box office. Mine is one of the films that has already been mentioned, which is Thank You for Your Service. I think Thank You for Your Service is going to make more than Last Flag Flying. So I went with kind of two somewhat patriotic films, one from Richard Linklater, and then obviously Thank You for Your Service starring Miles Teller. I think Miles Teller is going to make more than Linklater on that patriotic front during these couple months. Dan, what do you got for your wild card box office?
I've been going for a few things. I was trying to figure out, you know, what. I'm trying not to double up on a few different movies. So I was looking at, like, do I go Justice League or Thor? And I felt like that was, I don't know, not 100% loving it. So I was going to go with a movie I haven't talked about yet, which is one that you brought up with Blade Runner, and I'm going to say that Blade Runner 2049 will make more money than that of why did I forget its name? The movie that came out last year that he directed.
Are you talking about Arrival?
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say that Blade Runner 2049 will make more money than Arrival.
Interesting, putting the director's own films against each other. I like it. I'm hoping. What did Arrival make last year? Does anybody know that?
It was over 100 million.
It'd be interesting to where that would put it. I'm thinking it maybe made 150.
It was just at 100 million.
Oh, just at 100. Okay. So Blade Runner making more than that. So that still fits in with mine. It can do that and not make 185. So I like that. Amanda, what do you got for your wild card?
All right.
Confidence.
Was I just listening? Blade Runner 2049 will gross more at the box office in its opening weekend than the original Blade Runner made in the lifetime domestic gross.
Wow. Do you know what that number is?
It's like 32,000 or 32 million.
Okay. 32,000. You got it.
Got it. I mean, it's more zeros.
So more in its opening weekend than the other movie made in its entire run. I like it. Interesting pick. Matt, what do you got?
Everyone has cool ones, and then I did one. Here's what's great about mine is I was like, hey, Thor 3 will do better than the other Thors. And then Dan's like, I'm just going to throw that on top of mine for no reason. Like, thanks, Dan.
I'm sorry.
At least you're in agreement.
Yeah, because that one looks really good, and the first two Thors were kind of meh.
All right, so Thor 3 being the big money box office winner out of the franchise. I like it. All right, Amanda, back to you. Where do you want to go, fresh or a rotten?
Well, let's do fresh.
All right, what's going to be fresh?
Thank You for Your Service.
Miles Teller?
Yes.
Bringing in the ratings?
Yes.
All right, any reason in particular? Just people like them patriotic films?
I mean, I want to cry.
You're going to cry?
So.
All right. Dan, what do you got being fresh?
Well, my favorite movie last year was The Lobster, so I'm hoping, Lagos Lanthimos can do it again with the killing of a sacred deer. So I'm going to say that'll be fresh.
Excellent. I was tempted to go that route, but I had a couple other that I wanted to throw in there. One of which was Wonderstruck. Todd Haynes has got a pretty good track record when it comes to fresh films, so I'm going to say he continues that with Wonderstruck. Matt, what do you got?
I have Murder on the Orient Express, because I don't know how much money it's going to make, but it looks fun.
All right, so Murder on the Orient Express finding its way in all kinds of different areas in the prediction path today. Amanda, back to you. Another fresh pick.
I'm going to go with The Mountain Between Us.
The Mountain Between Us. Think it's going to resonate? Little Idris?
Yeah.
All right. Dan, what do you got for your second one?
I'm going to go with Molly's Game, Aaron Sorkin's directorial debut. I'm hoping it was one of my most anticipated films. I'm hoping it will pull through as well. I liked the trailer, so.
All right. I'm interested in that one as well. I think for my next one, I am going to go with The Snowman because Fassbender.
That's also my third pick.
Me too.
All right, so a lot of love for The Snowman. Matt, I know you gave that one, but you have a third one, right?
Yeah, which I don't think has been said yet, which is Goodbye Christopher Robin. That looks like Oscar baity.
Yeah, I thought that one was that has an interesting look to it as well. I'm just not quite. I don't know how it's going to resonate, but I'm very interested in the film, so I'm intrigued on how that one does. Dan, you have a third pick as well for Fresh.
I'm going to go with The Shape of Water. I'm hoping Guillermo del Toro pulls it out. It's getting. I hear a lot of good buzz about it. I don't know for sure. Like I haven't read any reviews, but I've heard saw some Twitter noise, as they say. So I'm hoping that's true.
Excellent. For my third one, I'm going to go with the longest title on the list. I'm going to go with 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, because it was on my most anticipated list at the beginning of the year, and now it's finally getting to the point where it's going to come out. And I think it's the right type of film to get some good rating, good critiques there. Amanda, what else do you got?
I gave you mine. That was
all 3?
Yeah.
What were they all?
Thank You for Your Service, The Mountain Between Us, and The Snowman.
Oh, excellent. That is 3. Why don't you keep going then with some rotten pick?
I'm going to go with Jumanji.
Jumanji not resonating, huh?
I'm a little worried.
You're worried?
I don't think it's going to be that great.
All right. Dan, what's your first rotten pick?
I'm going to go with Geostorm. It's awful. So, I saved it for rotten.
Excellent. Matt, what's your first rotten pick?
Oh, dude, that Medea. Boo, too. I mean, seriously. Here's the thing, I don't know, Medea movies, I think, make money, but they don't get well reviewed.
I'm surprised that nobody picked that for any of their picks to click, actually.
I have it for rotten as well, so.
Okay. Gotcha, you used it up for the rotten pick. For my first rotten pick, I'm going to go with Polaroid, because that shit looks stupid. And there's a lot of horror films coming out that are probably going to make some money that are not going to get reviewed well. And I think even though a bunch of them will probably be in that 30 to 50% range, I think Polaroid is going to be in that 8 to 12% range. So Polaroid would be my first pick. Amanda, what else you got being rotten?
Jigsaw.
Jigsaw, huh?
Yes. I don't care if it's Halloween.
No, I also have that because the Saw movies have gone from 50% down to 8.
All right. Dan, another rotten pick.
I'll go with The Bad Moms Christmas. It's I actually kind of enjoyed the first one, but this one legitimately was fast tracked. Think about that movie just came out last year, and there was no sign indication of a sequel, but it did surprisingly well. So they just kind of went, let's do a sequel really quickly. So that usually does not bode well for a comedy, for a movie to come out, be made within that short period of time. So it feels like they're just trying to cash in as quickly as they can with it. So I'm guessing it's going to be awful, and especially when a movie goes to the Christmas angle, usually not a good sign. So I'm going to say it's not going to be good, and go with Bad Moms Christmas.
And for all those reasons, I'm going to go with it as well. I think the first one only scored a 30-something%. So most sequels in that type of realm usually go down from the first one. So if the first one's at 30, this one should be able to get under 25. So I'm with you on that one. Matt, do you have a rotten pick left, or did you give them all out?
I still got one left.
What is it?
The Rottenest Justice League.
Dang, dude.
I was wondering if it was going to come up.
Bogus. You are bogus, sir.
Throwing one more stone at DC.
That movie looks bogus.
No.
Amanda, did you have any rotten picks left, or did you give them all?
Suburbicon.
Suburbicon? Not a big fan of the Matt Damon, George Clooney, Coen Brothers?
No, it just looks stupid. I'll probably see it, but I didn't like Hail Caesar. If it's like anything like that, like I fell asleep. A
lot of people liked Hail Caesar.
It just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me, bro.
All right. This is not about you. This is about Rotten Tomatoes.
This is about me right now because these are my predictions.
Okay. For my other rotten pick, I will go with Daddy's Home 2 for the same reason I went with Bad Moms Christmas. It's a sequel. The first one didn't score very well, and I don't think people are still real keen on giving Mel Gibson great reviews. So Daddy's Home 2 and Bad Moms Christmas, the double comedy sequel downfall. I really wanted to go with Happy Death Day, though, because that movie just straight up pissed me off. How many films this year are we going to get that are rehashing the Groundhog Day scenario, the time loop thing, in like a horror element? Because we literally already had one or two of these this year. So I don't quite like when they made this film and then they were marketing it and whatnot, when they saw, like, what was the other one called?
Before I Fall.
Before I Fall. Like, when they saw that one come out, did they say, shit, they beat us to it? I don't know. I saw this preview and I was just openly angry, but I did not put it. I went with Bad Moms Christmas and Daddy's Home 2. Dan, did you give all yours?
I did.
All right, so everybody's gotten all the rotten picks out of the way. I didn't miss anybody?
Yep.
All right. One film we haven't talked about yet, so let's do it now. There's a little known film coming out in December called Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Let's see if we can somehow figure out what it's going to make and what it's going to score at Rotten Tomatoes. Matt, you are killing the featured movies in the last couple months because you got the Rotten Tomatoes right for Transformers: The Last Night, you got the Rotten Tomatoes right for the Emoji Movie, and you got the box office right for the Emoji Movie. So, what's your secret? Do you think this is your realm to score points, or what?
No, I just dunked on some terrible movies.
I think it's only fair that you go first then for this one. So, do you want to do your box office or your Rotten Tomatoes? You'll go first on one and last on the other.
Oh man, I'm gonna go with the box office because I think that's more likely to tie up with someone, and I want to get that number because I feel more comfortable with that one, which is 850. That's how many millions of dollars I think it's gonna make. I think it's gonna be a little bit less than The Force Awakens, because I mean, Episode 2 didn't make what The Phantom Menace made, and I think. Though Luke Skywalker talking in this one is probably going to be a big draw, I know that there was a lot of hate about like there being female and ethnic people in Star Wars all of a sudden, and so I think there might be people that don't go and view the sequel because they're closed-minded and terrible.
So 850 million for Matt. Amanda?
I have 800 million.
800, so a little less. Both in the 800 range, though. Dan, are you sticking somewhere in that realm? Going higher or going lower?
Yeah, I figured it was going to be less than the original because I typically how these go. So I'm going to go 880 million.
All right. So a little bit higher than both Amanda and Matt. All right. I guess I'm the only one thinking this way, and that makes me feel like I'm wrong. But I feel like there's going to be more. There was a ton of buzz for this one, but with how successful it was and how many people went and saw it, and the tease of how it ended with us not even getting really to see Luke yet, and the mystery behind Rey, and just everything that's been going on so far, I think it's going to beat The Force Awakens, as crazy as that may sound. So, I feel like it's stupid saying this number, but I had 1 billion.
Whoa. I hope.
You went to the B word?
1 billion. Is that crazy or what?
I don't think that's crazy for any movie.
It's gotta happen. Like there's gonna be a Star Wars movie that makes $1 billion.
I don't know, maybe with the Rey and the Luke and I don't know, $1 billion. Let's go for it. I'll go crazy. All right, so let's go in reverse order then for Rotten Tomatoes. I have no idea where to go for this one, but I'm sticking at the 85%. That's my number, 85% for The Last Jedi. Dan, what do you got?
I will go 90.
90? I like it. Amanda, what do you got?
86.
Oh, I don't like it. Why are you going one more than me?
My paper, it's already typed.
Jerk face. All right, Matt, don't say 84, please.
No, I actually had 88, and I feel like that's too close to everyone else. So I'm just gonna fucking jump to 94. 94. That puts it one above, I believe, Force Awakens.
That if you would have said what you said first, we would have all been within 5 points of each other. So.
Yeah.
All right, so apparently all of us kind of siding on the fact that it's going to be pretty well reviewed. We'll have to wait and see if that turns out or not. Before we close out today's show, though, let's take a look back at all the films that are kind of coming out, and there might have been some that you didn't fit into a place in your predictions that you might still be interested in. So, Dan, let's start with you. Any films October, November, December, what are you most looking forward to, or do you think it's going to be a good end of the year?
I think so. I think there's a lot to look forward to. I mean, like, they have Steven Spielberg's coming out with a film that we didn't talk about regarding. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. Man, my brain is just not working. But the big movie that I have hope for is Downsizing, just because I love pretty much everything Alexander Payne has done, and I'm hoping that I didn't love the trailer, but I'm hoping that it will actually turn out pretty good. And the Disaster Artist, that looks like it'll be. I almost went the Disaster Artist will have a higher Rotten Tomato score than The Room, but I figured that'd be cheating, so I didn't. But I think that looks like it. When I heard they were doing that movie, I thought why would you do a movie about that? But it actually looks like it might be good. So,
Amanda?
I think I mentioned all the things that I'm looking forward to the most. Blade Runner, Thor, Justice League, and Murder on the Orient Express all seem pretty freaking cool to me.
Yeah, there's a lot that's coming out towards the end of the year that I didn't put in my predictions just because I wasn't sure if they were going to get pushed or wasn't sure if there was going to be enough time to actually grade some of them. So obviously the Phantom Thread has a lot of buzz, but that's getting just probably a limited release at best towards the end of the year. That's the Daniel Day-Lewis, Paul Thomas Anderson film. Some other interesting Christmas releases with The Greatest Showman, The Post, and Bright. I was just afraid to put any of those, but I'm intrigued by all of them. I think, like we said before, Hugh Jackman might be great in The Greatest Showman, even if the movie doesn't do well or this, that, and the other. I'm intrigued by Murder on the Orient Express. I want to watch it just because I've never, I'm unfamiliar with the story, so I'd like to see how it plays out. Matt had mentioned Goodbye Christopher Robin. That one's kind of interesting to me. Nobody picked Wonder, and I just kind of snuck Wonderstruck in one time, but those two seem like they could have some potential. And then I'm kind of interested to see what the Snowman, what Fassbender's bringing to that little horror / thriller tale. Matt, anything that's going to get you out to the theater for those 3 months besides The Last Jedi?
Yeah, I'm going to see Last Jedi half a dozen times, but though mostly in January if I know my life at all. I do really want to see The Disaster Artist. I read that, I don't know what to call it, book, biography, autobiography? Right. Novel, whatever it is, because it's definitely questionable reality and stuff like that, where it's like it's one guy's take on another guy's life, which is really weird. So like I want to see that, and the three billboards Missouri one looks good, but there's probably no way I'm gonna see that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That one's definitely one I'm intrigued at as well. So you guys will have to let us know what you think of our picks and what films you're looking forward to in the final 3 months. The best way to do that is to go to the website www.geekcastradio.com, find the Cinema Geeks episode post, comment there, and we will definitely reply to you there. We can also reply to you directly through social media, and the best way to do that is through Twitter. The show handle is @CinemaGeekcast. Amanda, your Twitter is
@HardCandyMandy, eyes, no lies.
Dan, your Twitter is
@Movie Revolt.
Matt?
I'm @FredLeeson.
And I am @Optimus Solo. And don't forget, there's still time to get into our contest to win a 6-pack of video game film movies. I think there was like 5 or 6 entries so far. All you got to do is go to iTunes and leave us a review. If you leave the review sometime between now and the end of when we finish that spotlight, you'll be entered into a chance to win that 6-pack of movies. We do have a few more films to go with that. I think next up is Dungeon in the name of the what's it called? In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege Tale.
Yeah,
There's a lot of words. There's a lot of words in that one. And next episode, in episode 151, we begin our next director retrospective. So we will be getting into our thoughts on Clerks next time. So definitely stay tuned for that and let us know what your excitement level is for that director retrospective. All right, so that does it for this. You'll have to wait and see who predictions will reign supreme as we tally up the final totals at the end of the year. But that's it for this week. Tune in next time for another chance to listen to the Cinema Geeks.